What's going on in the tourism field today in the world, and what are the major trends?
We're watching huge resilience from the tourism sector. After the pandemic, I think almost all over the world recovery has come to very positive results. Most of at the OECD world where tourism is absolutely relevant. We've reached pre-pandemic levels. The country that I come from, Portugal, we are pretty much ahead of the results of pre-pandemic. The industry is booming despite the economic uncertainty that we're living. Actually, after the pandemic, if we thought that would be the only problem, it was not. Then we had the rise of inflation, we had some geopolitical uncertainty that remains until now with new challenges. But we still believe that tourism is one of the most resilient sectors that we can have. And all trends that we have in our table points out that the industry will keep growing in the future. So it's an excellent economic opportunity for many countries to invest and to promote growth and wealth within destinations.
So all the problems the world has today are not really affecting the tourism sector?
No, they are not affecting the tourism industry in general, but definitely they affect some of the destinations that are closer to those geopolitical issues. We have seen that in Europe, where Eastern Europe remains a little bit behind the pre-pandemic levels due to the conflict in Ukraine. So that is part. But I think one of the elements that we should put on the table is uncertainty is become global. So it's becoming part of the game, and both the public sector and the private sector have to take into account ways of going around those uncertainties and find ways to keep growing on that sense.
I wonder what makes tourism such a resilient field. Like, is it the desire of people to discover new places or something else?
I think it has two parts of the equation. One is, I think worldwide the tourism industry as a whole is very professional. So we are very much and pretty much specialized in delivering excellent experiences to people. But the second block, I think, is even more important, and I think it grew significantly with the pandemic, which is traveling, meeting other people, and knowing other cultures and other geographies is becoming more and more important to the society. Because if you think about the times that we were confined during the pandemic, the first thing that we wanted was actually to travel. And all the research that we have seen puts tourism as number one priority of people when it comes to non-mandatory spending in their lives. And this opens a wide opportunity for businesses and for destinations to actually attract tourists from all over the place.
What potential does Armenia have as a destination?
Well, actually, this is my first time in Armenia, and I've done some research, and the times that I've experienced here, I think there is one historical, very important block that has the potential to be explored. I think truly beautiful, but also the environmental part and the biodiversity. And we just heard the representative of UN mentioning the qualities and the excellence of Armenia from that point of view. So I think that brings an opportunity in terms of active tourism, in terms of rural tourism, that the country has all the conditions to go for. And I think the richness of this forum and the discussion that we had in our panel shows exactly, first, the willing of the government to push for tourism, and also the interest from the private sector to develop new ventures in that field.
What about problems? Do you see any problems here that
Well, I don't know exactly the environment of the country. We understood from the panel that capacity building it is one issue. So the need of funding for infrastructure, and I think that it's pretty normal in any destination that is pushing for development. Also, the scale of investments and the need of attracting investment. So I think the purpose of this forum to host and to promote investment is absolutely one of the reasons that are needed to foster development around Armenia.
Governmental policy or private sector? What plays a bigger role?
No, I think it's from what we stand for, both from the OECD side and even the experience that we have in Portugal. I think it's partnership. They have to go together. They have to align priorities, establish a common vision in terms of tourism development, and then align which are the investments they have to be put it on the place, both on public and private. I think it's impossible to have it one without the other. So I think making them together and making them align is absolutely crucial, and it's actually the ingredients needed for promoting development.
You also focused on the topic of sustainability in the field of tourism.
Well, true. From Portugal's point of view, it's impossible to think about tourism development without thinking about sustainability, and sustainability in the three pillars. So thinking that economical or that business have to be profitable, that is absolutely clear, but obviously respecting environment and preserving, even regenerating environment. That is today is part of our strategy in a very clear way. So we have specific goals to achieve in that field, and also very important, the relationship with the communities and how do we keep respecting and even improving the social value of the tourism within destinations. So it's how can tourism can be actually a vehicle of development of society and not only just a standalone tourism economic activity.
What exactly can countries, Armenia including, do to, preserve the cultural heritage, the nature, and so on, while attracting tourists?
No, absolutely. Well, first, take into account that what tourists want when they visit a certain destination, and every research is telling us now that is actually to feel what is different. So keep improving the quality of local services, betting on what is authenticity from Armenia is one of the most important blocks of it. So if in your value chain you're able to deliver experiences that are connected to your culture, that are connected to your communities, they are connected to your other adjacent economic activities within the country, meaning food, meaning wine, if all of this is brought into the tourism development strategy, that allows all the economy to benefit and you to remain differentiated in the market, because what I'm getting here, I'm not getting in another place.
Yeah, if our places were similar, there would be no sense in traveling.
No, absolutely, but sometimes there is a temptation of adjusting the businesses that you put on the table to make it global, while you forget sometimes differentiation. And I think given and promoting what is Armenia's authenticity and real assets is actually the way to go forward in terms of development.
That's actually a very important message.
Yeah, that is truly what I believe. It's my first time in Armenia, and my curiosity was seeing what is your history and culture, what is your food, and that is what attracts me and makes actually Armenia different from another place. So it is one extra reason for coming here, and we see pretty much that in Portugal. We are, I would say, a developed destination and a mature destination in terms of attracting international visitors. But food and the relationship with our communities is number one element of satisfaction of the tourists that visit Portugal. So it means that has to be improved. That has to be continuously our message to attract new tourists to Portugal. So I think I'm recommending to Armenia to do what has been proven as a success story for my own country.
What 3 good and 3 bad things did you notice in Armenia?
Well, actually, my curiosity goes towards good things. As I saw, I would say, cultural richness, which is, I would say, very interesting. And I was surprised actually with the landscape and with the lake. I've passed through the lake yesterday, and I saw huge opportunities that can come from such a beauty in terms of nature. And I would say I would focus on those positive sides. Actually, I'm quite impressed with what I've seen, and I think that brings possibilities to Armenia in terms of thriving as a tourist destination.
So culture and beautiful landscapes, something else, the third one?
Well, that was, and food. I think the food that I tried, sorry to be bad, but the food was quite amazing, and I think adds value to your offering in general.
Well, what about things that need to be improved?
Well, we've discussed in the panel. I don't have that experience to be expert in that topic, but I think we've discussed in the panel, and I think both government and the private sector are quite aligned on the need of investing in infrastructure. But I think it's something that it's on the plan, so it will certainly support Armenia's tourism strategy in the future.
I would also like us to explore this topic. How are the current technologies, the development of AI, for example, artificial intelligence, affecting the tourism field?
Well, I think artificial intelligence is, from my point of view, can have a tremendous impact in, I would say, in any economic activity. Tourism is not an exception, and is due to the potential of AI itself, but also the potential that AI has in other technologies that were not that explored. Thinking about IoT, for example, thinking about VR and AR, and they can have a huge potential of even disrupting a lot of works. And what we recommend from the OECD point of view is that both governments and the private sector follow closely developments in this area, invest in this area, and try to understand how these technologies can actually improve their business models as companies. Because I'm pretty much secure that this has an enormous potential to change the way that industry is perceived worldwide and create, I would say, competitive advantages for the ones that, improving, giving
information to users, for example?
Well, first of all, giving information for users that is available and can improve and can give instantly information to tourists what we can do in the next 2 hours. That is something that is possible with AI. We need to work on the resources and the digitalization of businesses to make that available through AI, but that is one important block. The automation of several things is absolutely critical. The second, I would add probably, which is one thing that almost all businesses and destinations aim for, which is personalization, which is understanding context of people and where they are and their preferences, and try to select and to provide them with the experiences that are most alike with their aims as tourists. So I think a huge potential from that point of view, from communication, from usefulness to and usage from tourists towards that end. So I think both companies and the public sector, I think, has to be a common work. Have to invest in that technology in terms of improving their competitiveness.